Hi, Gina. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me on. How are you?
Good. I'm here with Laura, my co-host, and she's actually in Spain, and I'm in DC.
Hi,
We've got
everyone.
a little triangle covered then. I'm in New York, so it's good to
Yeah.
be on with you both.
Yeah, I thought you might be in New York. So I have some questions, and Laura has some questions too. But first of all, we're really wondering what is safe bets?
It's a that's a great question. My background is twofold. Go to market strategy and launching new ventures, which is what Safe Bets is part of my wheelhouse, but I'm a professor at NYU and I focus on go to market strategy in sport. So it's sport betting, prediction markets, and Safe Bets. That is a project that I'm working on in tandem with teaching. So Safe Bets is really in this interesting space of prediction markets. It's a fundamentally new model for the prediction industry because we're talking about risk-free betting. So you might have questions about that, but users on Safe Bets, our platform, can actually earn real money without putting a single dollar at risk. So it's a different economic architecture entirely. And while it's not gambling, anti-gambling regulators actually have no legal basis to restrict it. So with Polymarket and Kalshi being blocked in like 85 different jurisdictions, we kind of go around this regulatory wall entirely.
So I know this is, trending right now. There's even a place in DC where people are doing this, like an actual
Yeah.
physical location. But, what
Yeah.
is this? Because it's kind of new.
Yeah, it's actually the fastest growing financial sector there is. Prediction platforms are essentially these spaces where people can make forecasts about future events. So anything from sports to elections, culture, entertainment, real world trends. So the simple version is they're turning opinions, like what is your opinion on who's going to win an election, into measurable signals. So instead of saying, I think that this candidate will win, or I think that the Knicks will win in the playoffs, you can actually back that belief through a market or a platform. So what makes prediction platforms just really interesting is that they're aggregating this collective intelligence, like all these solid guesses. And when people participate, you can see what the community is likely to believe will actually happen.
Like
So,
what's trending.
Gina, I'm familiar with the prediction
Yeah.
markets, and yes, they've been booming the last probably year and a half, right? And
Yes.
I'm wondering, so how does the no risk model work in practice, and where does the real money that the users actually earn come from?
Yes, really, really good question. So, when we're thinking about this different economic architecture that I mentioned before, platforms like Polymarket and Kalshi are built on a zero sum framework. So, every dollar won by a participant is lost by a number, and they redistribute existing capital among participants while taking fees off the top. So, that's the model that regulators across these 85 jurisdictions are looking at and saying, this is gambling and we're going to ban it. So, Safe Bets is built on a model that is differentiated in that rather than pitting the participants against each other, Safe Bets is actually going to derive returns from inefficiencies in publicly traded financial markets. So this might be pricing discrepancies or arbitrage opportunities, structural mispricings across these exchanges and instruments. So the result is positive sum, values created, not transferred. The token for this will be Unicoin, which is a cryptocurrency. So anyone that signs up with Safe Bets is automatically given 100 unicoins to make their bets and guesses. So really, they're not putting up their own capital. By signing up, you're given the unicoins to make your bets with. And if you are consistently out predicting the market, you have the opportunity to accrue as much as possible. If you lose all of your bets, there's no way to buy back in with your own money. In fact, you have to give another referral in order to re-up and get that. By doing that structure, we're trying to identify the oracles that are consistently out predicting the market. and using that as collective intelligence to send those trading signals and split the proceedings accordingly.
So I joined and I made some safe bets on Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. So we'll see if
Okay.
Bitcoin goes to 82,000 today.
Okay.
And
So
I
you're
got my
already in it. You're already
yeah, and I
seeing the
got my
model.
unicorns and
Great.
everything. Yeah. So and it was really easy to figure out and it's really cool. But since I know the most about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, those are the ones that I did.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
a lot of platforms in this space can feel very finance heavy or intimidating, especially for those that aren't already deep into crypto or trading. What I like about this model is that it has the opportunity to make prediction markets feel a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more approachable, particularly for audiences who like understand sports and culture and fandom but might not think of themselves as crypto people. So to me, when I'm thinking about the difference in this framing, it's not just like place a bet. It's express your conviction, participate in a community, and learn from the intelligence of a crowd. And I think that's what's so appealing about prediction markets in general.
So Gina, so if I understand correctly, so the end to end would be I join, I get the 100 unicorn, I place my prediction, I win, and then what happens? How can I turn that into money?
Yes. So we'll have our initial coin offering in September. And that is when the currency could be transferred to cash, the cash equivalent. But the goal is for you to continue to make those accurate bets. So you have this opportunity to accrue as much currency as possible so that when you do decide to transfer a trade, you can really keep that percentage of the net trading profit. 50% of the gains is something that safe bets will keep, while the other 50% goes back to the predictors.
So you've been in social impact, sports, education, several different fields. And what attracted you most to this one? Because I noticed this is the first time you've been in the prediction market, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
and it's interesting as I, meet people in this space, in this new industry, people coming in from all different sectors of business. So my background is really in sports business, and as a professor, in this sports business space where sports betting is really transforming how fans engage with their different teams and how it kind of drives this different sort of interest. It is the fastest growing body of institutional capital, of legal battles, of regulatory frameworks, and cultural footprints in the history of financial markets. So at NYU, I research and teach about the intersection of ethics and enterprise. And essentially, the prediction market sector is growing on the back of addiction. So, with my interest in social impact and sustainable models, how do we think about how prediction markets have made betting easier than ever, with people really paying the price? And there was an interesting article that came out several weeks ago. Fortune magazine did this, article about how Americans are betting billions of dollars. Last year, it was $167 billion on sports betting just in 2025. And about a quarter of those sports bettors can't actually control their gambling. And when we think about what addiction does, it doesn't just destroy savings, but relationships, and in the worst cases, lives entirely. And these aren't abstract statistics, they're real people. So when I learned of this project that was in development, that was kind of like very much at the intersection of new venture development, something that's disruptive, something that's innovative, but something that is a foil to what this industry is being built on, which is addiction. And to see how I could use this lens of ethics and enterprise to help develop this vision was really appealing. So I have a little bit of a non-traditional pathway into this space, but it's been very, very fun to develop and to learn and to really bring this to market.
Yeah. And as you're talking, I'm looking at the platform and I see, so you're pulling in the information from Coinbase, right? And then do you work with Coinbase? Like if someone, like if you put, because I haven't put any like tokens in there yet. Is that how it works?
So when we get to the profit splitting and there's that initial coin offering in September, you'll be able to, I guess, transfer that currency and get that cash equivalent should you want to. Yes.
I was just curious as I was looking in here
Sure.
because I was like, what if I win a lot? And I'm seeing the
Yes.
leaderboard. And
Yes.
people like
Yes.
somebody in here has like a I don't know, 58%. I mean, it shows like 68% success rate and things like that. So that's interesting. We can see
Yes.
how
So
well, yeah.
hopefully you'll be one of those skilled predictors, which we'll call an oracle. So Safe Bets will use its oracles to generate this internal truth or this accurate probability for an event. And it then identifies those instances where external platforms such as Polymarket or Kalshi have a mispriced contract relative to that internal signal. Business will monetize this by deploying this house capital to trade against those mispriced contracts. And that captures the spread between its crowdsource intelligence and the public market price. So, it's this like kind of cross venue arbitrage where the strategy is going to involve identifying and profiting from the price differences for the same event across those different prediction platforms. So hopefully you will be among the oracles, and then come September, you can decide what you want to do with your crypto.
So, Gina, I have two questions. So, do you have your own Oracle at SafeBet? Because for example, the person I think when I think oracles, I think of, for example, Chainlink, who's been around for a while, and other projects who verify Internet of Things offline, online, and they put blockchain through that and effectively check that information. So that's the question. Like, do you have your own?
We were exploring Kalshi and Polymarket, and there isn't really interpretation into what the question actually means. You're just accepting the answers. So, for instance, I always get in my line of work, like, how do you define a sports fan, right? That should be a very easy question for me to answer. However, I can probably give you 10 different answers. Is it someone that is constantly buying and watching games? Is someone that could potentially name an entire offensive line for an NFL team? Is it someone that is guiding their purchase behavior, just feel strongly about an athlete, right? All of the scholars in our space don't have that answer. So what is really interesting is there is interpretation there. So we are developing those mechanisms to ensure that those questions are straightforward and definitive, but that's not necessarily like something that Kalshi or Polymarket has actually figured out as well. So there was a lot of talk and a lot of debates among experts and traders and people in that space that was like, how is there no real pushback on defining those questions based off of the predictions being made? So in our, infrastructure, ensuring that there's clarity there. Additionally, we want to get to 200 million users in the next 6 years. And that sounds very ambitious, but that's how you identify those top predictors. So we don't want, a lot of people making a lot of bets that are inaccurate. We want to get mass and volume so that we are identifying those top predictors and getting that collective intelligence to send those trading signals. So again, this is like, we just did our launch a few weeks ago. Our initial coin offering will be in September, but we have a plan for rollout and development through 2030, where we hope to onboard as many as 200 million users. Very ambitious, very exciting, but that's really how we identify those top oracles to send those trading signals.
Yeah, and we really didn't mean to be this technical, but it's interesting to learn how it works and everything that's happening. And actually, Laura is an athlete, so you might have some
That's
questions there.
incredible. What sport or
So,
sports?
yeah. So, well, yeah, I practice many sports, mainly tennis, and my top one is beach ultimate. So flying disc.
Okay,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
that's
on the
awesome.
I'm on the Spanish national team, and we placed third last year
No,
at Worlds.
she's a big
Yeah.
deal. Like she's
Maybe
very
I'll be on the platform if people can
amazing at
predict.
sports. Yeah. So, yeah, we have some other fun questions. It's kind of like this lightning round thing that we do. The first one is, what is the biggest opportunity in tech right now?
Community powered intelligence.
Yeah, I had a feeling you might say that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I heard today, history doesn't repeat itself. human nature does. So that's very
Okay.
fitting to what we're talking about. Some people say history rhymes, doesn't repeat itself, but then the other version is human nature does. Okay,
Mhm.
so next question, Gina. Most misunderstood tech.
I would still say, as far as like mass adoption is concerned, is blockchain, because people are often reducing it to like speculation when the bigger story is maybe ownership or transparency, coordination. So yeah, conceptually, I think a lot of it's still hard for people to grasp.
We're early. Okay, and the next question is, AI or blockchain? Which one changes the world faster?
My goodness, AI. I just think about how, how everything, even how I approach like designing assessments and build classroom and do research, that's transformed so much. So I would say AI is changing the world very fast, but blockchain may be changing the world a little bit more structurally. So I guess two sides to that.
Question. Gina, one thing every founder should focus on.
Trust when, building your product, trust when aligning with the team that's going to bring this vision to life, encoding a sense of trust with investors and consumers. I think that is the foundational pillar of any sort of successful ongoing relationship. And it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to build, but trust without a doubt.
If you could just pick one word to describe the future of innovation, what would it be?
Participatory,
Hmm.
it goes back to that, community intelligence, that people want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of this infrastructure of truth. So participatory.
Good one. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for coming in. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I know we'll definitely, share how to get to Safe Bets, which is safebets.world, correct?
Yes. Yes. I just really I admire this platform so much because it really amplifies the voices and the platforms of, not just emerging industries, but emerging leaders that are, meant to disrupt. So I think it's important, for your listeners and even for like myself. I think that like don't wait until you feel like you're the ultimate expert in the room to navigate leading in emerging industries like AI or blockchain or sports tech. These are all being built in real time. Nobody has all the answers. That's the actual opportunity. So I think, for your listeners that are very curious, that are willing to learn, that are able to connect ideas across industries, there's something so valuable to contribute. So thank you for having me on for this platform, and for the other interviews you've conducted to amplify the voices of women in particular, leaders in this space that are seizing the opportunity. So I like to think of myself that someone that is trying and constantly being uncomfortable to see what we can make and what we can build.
Yeah, I like that because I think even, I don't know if it's just women, but like, I feel like, we wait until we feel like we're an expert. But, I mean, in this space, you're an expert if you've been in it for a year or, 6 months. I mean, there are so many people who are just getting started. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
cool.
Your non-technical background can really be an advantage. So sports, education, culture, community building, ethics, storytelling,
Mhm.
I look at them not as like soft skills. They are essential to whether new technologies actually get adopted by real people. So, get in the room early, learn the language, build in public, and don't underestimate the value of your perspective. So, when people have been asking me where I come from and what's the connection, I'm able to defer to a lot of that soft experience to connect and build and socialize the why behind this new platform.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on and thank you for your kind words.
Thank
And,
you.
and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, learning about this. And I have a few more hours, 3 hours before I see if I'm going to win.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for signing up. Thank you for joining. We hope to see you join the ranks of an oracle. So we'll see how your predictions go. Wonderful, wonderful to meet you. And again, appreciate you having me on.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Gina.
Thank you.